Hey y'all, so I was just busy cleaning my brushes and I figured why not film it for y'all, just because at one point I didn't know how to clean my brushes, so I was looking on YouTube on how to do it. So I learned from that, and this is my personal way of doing it. However, there are a bunch of different ways that you can clean your brushes. I know this isn't a professional way to do it or anything, but this is just my way of doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I clean my brushes. So whenever I start cleaning my brushes, I start off by laying down a towel, and I just lay this down on the ground because it's the longest surface that I have, and I have a lot of brushes. And these are just a couple of the ones that I've already washed, and notice that I put them with the bristles down. That way the water won't seep into the stick of the brush, because if you're drying your brushes this way, the water is going to seep into your brush and it could possibly disconnect the head of the brush from the tail of the brush. So it's always best that you keep your bristles downwards after you are done washing your brushes. And now I'm going to move on to the actual process of washing your brushes. So as you guys can see here, I have all of my products that I need to clean my brushes. So first of all, I'm kind of OCD about this, but I like to separate my brushes from the small eye brushes, and then I'll have a different group for the bigger brushes, like my big face brushes, a group for my medium size / small size face brushes, and then I have my sponges that I use. So what I like to use on mine is this Dawn dish soap, and it's the antibacterial soap. It's really important to get antibacterial soap so that you can make sure that you're getting all the bacteria out of your brushes. So I have my little setup here, and I have a little lid that I fill up with dish soap, and this is just a lid from like a dry shampoo bottle or whatever that I washed out, and I just put my dish soap in there. And then I have this is actually a drying mat that's for dishes, but I haven't gotten around to buying a Sigma one or anything, but I just use this for now and it works just fine. And then I have my towel right here so that I can just kind of dry off my brushes real quick, and then I'll go put them on the ground on that towel with the rest of the clean brushes. So now I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning my brushes for you guys. So I'm going to take one from each of the 4 groups that I have, and I'm going to show you guys how to clean each group. So first off, I start by turning on the water, and I put it on cold, not a freezing temperature, but a good enough temperature to where it will still cleanse the brushes. So I'm going to dip my brush under the water, and then I'm going to dip it into the soap. And then first I'm going to use my hand, so I'm going to get my hand a little bit wet and swirl the brush around in my hand. And then I'm going to run the brush and my hand under the water and keep swirling. And I'm going to kind of dab it off a little bit and swirl it into the towel. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time, and I'm going to dip the brush into the soap, but this time I'm going to put it on the drying rack thing. And then swirl it in there just to get any extra product out of it. And the reason that it's important to have a board or like a thing like this is because the texture on it will allow the soap and the water to get deeper into the bristles. And then you can go ahead and swirl that around, and that's it for this one. And I'm going to go ahead and put that with the rest of my brushes that are already clean with the bristles facing downward. Now I'm going to do the same step with this medium-sized brush. This is just an IT Cosmetics Airbrush Serum Foundation, and it's number 131. It's just a flat top brush. And I'm going to go ahead and dip that in the water again. And then dip it into the soap. And then swirl it around in my hand. And this is my foundation brush or concealer brush. So as you can see on my hand right now, it's like a creamy color instead of the blue color that is the color of the soap. So I'm just going to swirl that around, and that is super dirty, so I'm going to wash that out under there, under the water. And notice the whole time that I'm washing my brushes, I keep the bristles facing downwards because we really don't want any of that water seeping into the handle. And so I'm going to keep swirling that around in my hand until I get some clean colored soap. So now, as you might be able to see, the water or the soap is turning more of a white color than the cream color it was before. So I'm going to wash that out. And again, I'm going to repeat that step one more time on the drying rack. The drying rack that I have is definitely more helpful for bigger brushes because the little circles on this are kind of big, so it really doesn't cover that much of my smaller brushes. That's kind of why I need to invest in a Sigma one that can, or a different branded one that can wash them all. And swirl it on the towel. And I have a nice clean white brush. Now I'm going to move on to my bigger brushes, my bigger face brushes. This is an Airbrush Powder Wand number 108 from IT Cosmetics. And so obviously this is not going to fit into this little lid. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. And for this, for bigger brushes, I like to turn my water up a little bit higher so that I can kind of cover the whole brush easier. So I'm going to get it wet, swirl it around my hand a little bit so that I can get all into the bristles. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that brush down and I'm going to grab my dish soap and put it into my hand so that I have a bigger surface to dip my brush into. And then I'm going to swirl it around just in my hand right here. And for me personally, I feel like it's easiest to clean the bigger brushes with the more thin bristles. The more densely packed ones are definitely harder to clean. And then for big brushes, I kind of like to wring it out a little bit and just take my fingers and just wring it out. And this time I'm going to rub it on the drying rack. I'm going to wring it out one more time and then dry it off in a swirling motion on the towel. And I'm going to go lay it down with the other ones. As you can see, it's nice and clean now. And now moving on to the Beauty Blender or Real Technique sponge. This one is a little bit trickier than just regular brushes. I usually save these for last. Now I'm not going to need this anymore, so I'm just going to fold it up because I still have a lot of other brushes to clean. So first I start off by soaking my Beauty Blender, or my Real Technique sponge, sorry, and I'll just soak it and get it all wet and full as if I were about to use it. Then I'll kind of wring it out. And for this I do the same thing that I do with the bigger brushes, and I put the dish soap into my hand. And then I just take the Beauty Blender and put it all, get the soap all over it, and then I'll just swirl it around in my hand and just make sure to really get the soap all inside the brush. And as you can see, it's squeezing out the color that was in it, that was from my foundation, and it's all orange coming out of it. So I'm going to put it under the water, and as I put it under the water, I'm squeezing it out, and I like to go like this and push upwards in this motion so that I can make sure to get all of the product out of the sponge. As you might be able to see right here, there's still that foundation mark in the brush, or in the sponge. So I'm going to repeat that again just to get it more clean. And I'm going to put the soap in my hand. So that is our sponge now, after it's all nice and clean. I got most of it out. I have a little tear right there, but I got most of the foundation out, pretty much all of it, it looks like. This is a fairly new sponge though, but this one is super old, so this one will probably not get all of the foundation out. But yeah, this one got pretty much all of it. So that was just my video on how I clean my brushes. I really hope that you guys got some good tips from this. Let me know in the comments below if you did, or if you want to see more videos like this. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and like this video if you learned something new today. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.